So it's been roughly a month now since I decided to very publicly document this, I don't want to say journey because the internet is so saturated with journeys. And it's not really a story since this is the beginning of its arc, so what is this? What is it? A project? A documentary in real time? An endeavor? A terrifying decision, not unlike being dropped right in the eye of the storm with a pressing sense of destruction all around me, where as long as I can stay calm and focus on what's right in front of my freaking face, I can ignore what is inevitably to come. Yes. Yes to all the above. Probably. But this didn't happen in isolation. No. In a way, it's been brewing my whole life, except I thought that if I was ever going to take the step like this and publicly just announce whatever's in my head, I thought it was going to be as a writer of some sort or in some capacity. Never in my wildest dreams did I think it was going to be music. And that's really only honestly because never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd be able to pull that off. Words and language are places I can comfortably inhabit, especially in my native tongue. But music was always a different world, a different universe even. Almost like a party where if I was ever going to take part, I would have to make damn sure to squeeze in through the back door and pretend to be one of the guests. But enough about that. Bottom line is, I'm doing it, it's terrifying, and I'm in desperate need of some advice. If you've been with me for a while, you might recall that a big inspiration for me here on YouTube, and I want to say a massive reason why I'm starting this series and why I'm even doing this is a guy up in Toronto named Scott. You probably know him better as the Bunn. So I figured he's out there, right, doing what I'm trying to learn how to do. And I know already he's a super generous, just overall great guy. Why not ask him for some advice? You know, pick his brain a little bit. Worst that can happen is I get ignored and life goes on, right? Well, I didn't get ignored. In fact, Scott was very generous in taking the time in the midst of moving and setting up a new space to thoroughly answer my questions and offer his insights and his wisdom with regards to all of this. Cue the interview.
Hey Philip, thank you for having me on.
Your videos always seem so thought out, and the amount of insight and detail you provide regarding the topics you discuss is very impressive. How much effort goes into writing scripts and really planning this stuff out compared to, say, recording and editing?
Number one is the amount of planning and effort that goes into the projects that I do. Everything is explicitly planned and subject to a pretty strict system. I always adhere to systems. I'm definitely not the type to wing it. I don't have that gift. I'd argue that people who are really good at improvising are people who have practiced and prepared for improvising. A lot of people who wing it actually can't wing it. For myself, in order to get to the core of a thing, to get to the very meat of a thing, it takes like strategy and process. It's also my interest to do the best that I can do given my resources and conditions. And the only way that I can do that is if I prepare. Something that I've found that a lot of people are surprised by is that I use the same sort of system for everything, for music, for video, for copywriting, for photos, for graphic design, all of that. It's concept, exploration, distillation, and execution. It's sort of those four modules. The concept is what am I doing and what is it all about? Exploration is what are all of the things involved and all the opportunities involved in exploring that thing. Distillation is what of those explorations are actually relevant to my goal. And then execution is doing the final thing and filling in all the gaps and making a finished thing.
I've noticed a very consistent output in terms of pace, color palette, style of editing, etc. Was this something you set out to do early on or something that developed over time? Also, how intentional is it and how important do you think that is in terms of establishing a brand on a platform like YouTube?
Is my palette, style, and overall aesthetic intentional? Yes, I have a background in art and design, and I was a graphic designer for a really long time, and that kind of really got me honed in to intention. I always try my best to establish a theme in any work that I do, doesn't matter what the medium is. And I suppose that translates into branding, but I don't really think about it that way. I don't think about branding. Maybe I should, but I don't. Using a video as an example, I try to design every frame and adhere to a continuity, both through the video, but also across a series. My 50-year-old baritone guy on the internet series. It has a specific aesthetic and rhythm and treatment, and that all ties everything together. And it's slightly different than my baritone obsessed series that I did. Everything to do with color palette and space and rhythm and feel and texture, and it's all design thinking. As for the importance of it, the importance to me, the importance to the audience, it's important to the people that it's important to, which is an interesting thing. Like, we don't get to choose our audience. We don't get to choose who notices anything. And I always try to keep that in mind, and I try to satisfy my own curiosities and aesthetics and interests first. As a creative, my target audience, I guess, are people like me. I am trying to share what I've discovered with people who might be on a similar path at a different point in time. Going back to design, I really like design, and I only consume designed things, and I make design things because I like design things, and most likely the people who are watching also like designed things.
When you started making videos, did you ever struggle with nerves or doubts about putting yourself out there like this? How would you compare the feeling of pressing record back then compared to now, for example?
Nerves and doubts about putting yourself out there. I started YouTube to give myself a reason to learn cinematography and make music videos, actually. I didn't want to ever be a YouTuber. That was not an interest, kind of fell into that. I ended up really enjoying it because it connected me with a whole bunch of people that I otherwise wouldn't be. Other creatives, other people interested in similar things. In the very beginning, I could not talk on camera at all. I could only do voiceover for my first 21 videos. I think that was like April 26th, 2016 to March 7th, 2018. I can't remember the exact numbers. But anyhow, it was the PRS 277 video. And at the very end of that video, I spoke like one sentence. And what's interesting about all of it is I never did make a music video. It's something that I'm still thinking about all the time, but I got into this to make music videos and I never made a music video. I have to say, one of the huge positives about doing YouTube is that it improved my communication skills, and it totally obliterated my insecurities. I used to care way too much about my teeth. My teeth have always been crooked. Now they're even way more crooked. But in the beginning, I was so concerned about my teeth, and they look way better than they do now. I don't know why. Now they're way worse, and I just don't care at all. I think the big thing with self-consciousness is just focus on the craft. Don't worry about your insecurities. If you focus on the craft will allow you to get through.
If you had to list 3 traits that you think are vital for anyone looking to make it as a solo musician or solo creative on the internet, what would those be? I personally wonder if people possibly overrate the importance of, say, technical ability compared to other traits or skills. And I'm curious to hear if you would agree.
So 3 useful traits for a solo creative, a solo musician. I think the number one most important thing is being comfortable with being bad. You'll be able to get through them and get to the good results. And that means doing things over again. This right here, I've done this twice already. I'm working in a new space, and I've tried a few different things in order to get what I want done. Being comfortable with doing bad work is, I think, the best way to get to doing good work. Like, technical ability is not creativity, but your technical ability can help you to explore your ideas, to explore the creativity. Most people's very first effort of anything is going to be terrible. Like, you have to be terrible to get good. Some people are lucky, but most people are not. Next thing is curiosity. The drive to explore, to experiment, to learn, to develop a process, getting to your voice, getting to making a mark. There's no guarantees that you ever will find your voice or ever will make a mark. The last thing, we already kind of covered it, but it's really important to know is the listeners, the viewers, they make the choice. We can't choose who the audience is. As the artist, we should probably have a desire or an interest in connecting with certain kinds of people. You know, we should probably know who our tribe is, so to speak. In the end, the audience makes the choice, and you may actually pair up with an audience that is not the one that you're fond of. Hopefully not, but it can happen. I've definitely found no matter how hard you work in your art, you don't get what you think you're gonna get out of it. You don't deserve anything. I've definitely known some people that think that they deserve to get paid. If you don't have an audience, if you don't have value as an artist, why is somebody going to pay you? The only scenario I can think of where that's justified is if you're hired to be environmental music. You know, a jazz quartet in a cafe. We're gonna pay you to be here because it's part of the aesthetic, the vibe that we want to, you know, promote for our patrons.
Do you have any advice on developing and maintaining multiple income streams as someone looking to make money on their music online as opposed to playing shows?
Income streams. That's an interesting one for me. I've experimented with a lot of things. When I first started doing the music thing, there were far less options in making money in music. So the internet changed all of that a lot, and it's amazing. A lot of artists are really uncomfortable with the money topic. I think the key is to look at what you're already doing. Ask yourself, can any of this help somebody else? Is any of this of benefit to somebody else? Can anybody else enjoy this? Ask that, and you end up in a long list of things like physical music, music downloads, music streams, background music and like sync for broadcast and stuff like that, commissioned compositions for brands or themes, software, presets, digital creative and technical assets. So I sell presets, I sell impulse responses, I sell templates, I sell drum MIDI, all of the stuff that I'm working with that I've created for myself. I sell all of those things. Then there's hardware, merch, endorsements, affiliates, brand deals, sponsorships. A lot of people forget things like speaking and training and consulting. There's a lot of opportunity there. Then like rentals, mixing, mastering, recording. Yeah, there's a lot of options.
And lastly, as someone who is currently doing everything myself, do you have any advice on finding people to collaborate with or how to balance out your weaknesses if you do end up being a solo musician / creative?
Finding people to collaborate with. I think it's in the process of doing everything yourself that you will more likely find the right people to collaborate with. You attract similar people, you attract people who are interested in the aesthetics and the work that you do. It's like bait. Do good work and you might attract people who do good work. I know for a fact that a lot of people sort of romanticize the whole concept of collaborations where they're like, yeah, we're gonna all work together and do this cool thing and it's gonna be a good time. In a perfect world, that would be true. However, what usually happens is one person ends up doing way more of the work than anybody else on the technical side and on the admin side. They get far less out of it than the other people get out of it, if anything at all. Yeah, it's just not a good time. So my project Vens, I collaborate with a vocalist in there, Theo. Theo and I, we can't do the same things, and that's why we collaborate. But Theo brings a lot to the table. He is an animator. He's really great with graphics. He is extremely capable of doing all of the admin stuff, just as capable, if not maybe more capable. He's very driven and ambitious and prompt. Sometimes you don't need a perfect match with a collaborator. Sometimes it's all about how you benefit each other differently. For myself, I know that I'm looking for a full stack producer, composer who has a complementary kind of style and feel to my own. A person who is pretty tight with basic music theory. They use the same gear. We have the same platform. People I work with would need to be great with MIDI drums. Cinematography. I would want to work with someone who is just as good at video as me. And the last thing I'd be looking for in a collaboration is a good hang. Person who is personable, clear communicator. Thanks again for having me on, Philip. If people would like to get in touch with me, follow up with me, thebunn.ca. That's my website, and you can find everything that's going on there. If you don't like websites, I guess the YouTube channel, youtube.com/thebunn. Peace out. I hope everybody has an amazing week making music.
Well, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And thank you again, Scott, for being so generous with your time. I truly appreciate it. If you happen to be someone who for some reason found this channel without knowing who the Bunn is, I recommend you right now to pause this video and just go check him out. His videos are, not only are they super interesting and super inspiring and, like I said already, super well thought out, but they're also perfectly executed videos every time. He told you where to find him, but I'm gonna make it even easier for you. I'll put all the relevant stuff down below, and that's it for me for today. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope I see you in the next one. Take care wherever you are in the world, and have a great day. Bye-bye.